Had you ever even heard of that? And what did you think when the fight got scrapped?
That's crazy. I never heard of that, right? Yeah, I never heard of that. And, when the fight got scratched, part of me was just thinking like, what to do now. You know what I mean? It's like, but once I got to see Patricio and we embraced, I felt, I felt better saying that, like he didn't like look like he was in any like physical danger, and I just wished him well and hoping to one day get that fight again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. But in the meantime, you've got Mark Lemminger. So I assume you just kept on staying in shape and now you're ready for this fight. So how do you feel about it?
Man, it's like same, it's like 100% enjoy the matchup. You know what I mean? It's like he has a great heart, and the longer, the fight goes, the better he is. You know what I mean? So like that's interesting in my book because that's like more so of me as well. Like, so I think it'll be interesting to see how, we match up in those later rounds, you know what I mean? Having to really dig deep, you know what I mean? But you know how it is for me. It's like if I see that opening in the first 30 or the first, 2 seconds, I'm going for it, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And here's hoping the fight goes down on Thursday and there's not another problem. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Matthew Allen, your line is now live.
Hi, Jalil. Thank you so much for the time. Just kind of curious, this being your second go-around in Bellator, what kind of confidence does winning the interim welterweight championship in your last fight kind of bring you coming into this?
Well, I guess I just feel mentally, just like prepared for, I guess, like, like the interviews and, all the stuff I have to do. Just, just remind me of how professional everything is around here. And, it's not something that's too hard for me to adapt to. I always wanted to be a professional athlete, and I always seen myself as a professional, even as a, wrestler back in the day. So, what I mean? It's like, it's just normal for me. I feel like it's like just another, in my mind, like another wrestling tournament, another dual meet, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, just your thoughts on your opponent, Mark Lemminger, being another LFA veteran as well, kind of meeting him in Bellator. What kind of excitement does that give to you coming into this fight?
And it's, like I said, it's 100% his will not to quit, you know what I mean? And how much he just continues to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I know like that's what I'm trying to test my skill sets against and see, like, 100% of like how I'm like truly improving over the years. Like my last fight with Vinicius, you know what I mean? It's like it was so many things I had to overcome within those 5 rounds, you know what I mean? And it's like it was perfect for me, It's like I could go back and do it again, and I wouldn't change a thing, you know what I mean?
Donna, go ahead.
Hey, Jalil, how's it going? You were in a co-main event the last time against a massive name. Mark Lemminger, obviously a great fighter, maybe a tougher challenge for you stylistically as a matchup than Patricio Pitbull. But how do you feel about sort of dropping down the card and fighting out on the prelims when you were in such a high position the last time?
I mean, I don't see no difference, you know what I mean? The competition level seems the same. But, when I look at some of the heavy hitters that's on this card, with me, I'm like, sure, I kind of understand. But, me, I'm happy to be fighting early because I feel like I can go in there, do my thing, not have to wait around. Last time it was a big, long wait, and it kind of, I mean, that's like what I've been going through the whole time, like these past 5-6 years of me fighting. So, like now, kind of being back to setting the tone of the show is almost like I feel like I'm back on that, that younger stage when I used to have to come out and set the tone as an amateur for like the pros and shit like that, So I'm like, I feel like that's what I'm doing again, you know what I mean? It's like I get to come out, fight early, set the tone for the show, and people gonna have to come out and, and beat what I just did, you know what I mean?
You had a little issue with the weight going into the last one. Obviously, you've jumped back up the weight classes. Are you finished with 155 at this point?
Yes, sir, I believe so. I got a nutritionist right now, and I mean, it's like maybe down the road we'll see what happens. But as of right now, man, I'm like feel like I'm still growing, and it's a lot of things that I feel comfortable with at 170. And when I go back and look at the history of my career, I had a lot more success at 170 than I do when I have those catch weights at those lower weights, you know?
Did you feel like you kind of had to take that fight because of the name and everything, and you weren't really in a position where you could say, "Oh, I'll hold off until there's a welterweight fight available"? Like you needed to go in at 155?
No, it's like I was, you know, we let them know that I was open to fighting at 155, and if I could, like, you know, I pretty much asked for it, you know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of backfired on me, you know, on that end.
All right, we'll take one or two more here. Jake Jones.
Hi, mate. Yeah, Jake Jones, MMA here. So you're making your Bellator debut against a tough test in Mark Lemminger. Did you take anything in his loss last time out to Yaroslav Amosov? Did you take anything from that fight?
Just you know, just like keep pushing, you know what I mean? A few more things that I seen that dude did well, you know, that Mark may be, you know, hip to, that I feel like I tweaked a little bit to put my little, you know, style on it to make sure I can come out on top.
Mm-hmm. And it's just been mentioned that you're coming off your win from the LFA title, and you're on a good win streak already. Who would you like after Lemminger? Is there any particular name?
No, man, focus on Mark. You know, I want Mark, and after Mark, I would like to fight Mark. You know what I mean? It's like I want to fight that dude right now, and that's where we trying to get, you know, taken care of.
And Jaleel, you've won 5 of your last 6 fights. You're currently on a 4-fight win streak. All 5 of your knockouts have come in the first round. What can fans expect in this one?
Man, I think fans can expect to see a lot crisper for performance. You know what I mean? So I feel like it'll be not as sloppy this time around. It'll still be my same grit and grind, you know, my Memphis style, but, you know, I feel like they'll be surprised to see like how well I've adapted to, you know, being composed and, you know, selling into this sport.
Good stuff. Thanks for the time, Jaleel. Good luck the rest of the week.
Appreciate it, man.
We'll be right back with AJ McKee. If anyone has any questions for AJ, please press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. Thank you.
Oh, it's like me.
All right, we are now being joined by AJ McKee. Once again, we're going to take a few questions from the media. We'll begin with Jay Anderson. Jay, your line is now live. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks very much, and welcome back, AJ. Good to see you finally getting in here. I mean, you're basically going last out of the Grand Prix with the fights last week. So, what has the waiting been like for you?
It's been good, you know, coming off a knee surgery back in January, and then set to fight in June, then COVID breaking off come March. I was scheduled June 6th, and I would say I was probably about 70, 80% ready. So that fight got canceled. I wasn't too worried about it. I was going to fight regardless. Just the fact that I felt I was over 70%, you know, 70% is passing. So for me, I'm ready to go. To taking time, and then once I felt 100%, we had finally locked in a fight date for November 19th, And I'm like, yo, I'm already in shape. I'm ready. Yo, Dad, let's go to Big Bear. So we went to Big Bear, did camp up in Big Bear, and we just had a great camp. Took all the guys up there. I took my dog up there, and I got to enjoy the wilderness. We'd go hiking, 4 or 5 hour hikes. Daily runs, mountain runs, and it was good. Just to get away. There's a lot going on in the world right now, especially LA. They rioting every other week and whatnot. So it was cool just to get away.
And how have you been able to kind of maintain your focus with so much on the line? Because I imagine it's hard not to look ahead. You see the other side of the bracket go through. There's $1 million on the line, potentially the title. How do you maintain your focus on the task in front of you, which is a former champ in Darrion Caldwell?
It's one fight at a time. I've known Darrion since I was a kid. I've watched him wrestle against guys like Bubba, Dake, and so forth. So he's a great wrestler, but for me, I don't really focus on what other people are focused on. I'm going to go in there and I focus on what I'm capable of. And at the end of the day, this isn't a wrestling match. This is mixed martial arts. And I feel that's something my coach and my father, he's always put into me, I've always been well-rounded at everything, So now I'm mastering what I've been well-rounded at, and that's being a mixed martial artist.
Steve Jewin, go ahead.
AJ, thank you for the time today. I want to take you back to something you said early on in your career when we talked. You once told me that you like to just walk up to a girl, give her a rose, smile, and walk away, just to leave her wondering who is that and what's he all about. Can you still do that kind of stuff in the COVID era?
No. I've changed my life. I don't go out as much anymore. I used to work at a club in Hollywood, so I get off work, I'll go buy a dozen roses from the little lady, just help out, support, and go give the roses. What I'm going to do, take them home? So I'd go hand them out, or give them all away. And, I can't really do that much anymore. So, I don't know. I've kind of changed my mentality, my lifestyle, and just I'm perfecting my craft, I know what my calling is. I know what I'm here to do now. And I'm literally giving it 110%, I'm doing my weight cuts right. My weight cuts are easier, just doing things right. I'm sitting, 5 pounds over right now. I look healthy. I feel great. Usually when I'm 5 pounds over, I'm hurting a little bit, So especially when me getting older, you gotta change up. You gotta mature. If you're not learning lessons and evolving from them, then you're just standing stagnant, and that's kind of a big problem. Even though every fight I win, there's still a lesson to be learned. And I think that's the big part, is finding the lesson in the win.
Speaking of that maturation, how do you see it playing into the possibility of this fight going a full 5 rounds?
Nah, that's not happening. It's not happening.
So your first round finish then, is that what you're predicting?
If that's the way Caldwell wants it, then yeah. But he's got to pick and choose his poison, I'm going to make him fight, No one's made him fight. Everyone goes out there, runs after him, and he swoops in for a takedown, If he swoops in for a takedown, I'm fine with that. I'm going to slice his face open with some elbows, and I'll probably catch him with the triangle, arm bar. My jiu-jitsu is superior, and I haven't really showed it off. So for me, this is a fight where I can go show off my stand-up. And if I get taken down, it's okay, I know I'm comfortable off my back. So this is a great fight for me, another stepping stone.
All right. We look forward to it on Thursday. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Donna.
Hey AJ, how's it going? You had a bit of a fracas at the press conference way back in March, pre-COVID, before anything happened, with Darrion himself. Have you seen him in the hotel? How are relations between you and Darrion Caldwell right now?
So after that, I saw him come, I think it was March when Slice was scheduled to fight here. I wouldn't say it was nothing personal. I just told him what it is. I'm going to break him. He breaks. I'm going to break him. And it's nothing personal. I like the guy. We kick it, have a few drinks after if you want. But once I step in that cage, we are no longer friends. I have a job to do. I have family to feed. And that's a big part to me. My dad looks out to me. He's put everything into me. So I got a lot to fight for. And there's no friends when you step in that cage.
Of course, you're very focused on Darrion Caldwell coming up Thursday night, but I would have to imagine you were in front of your TV watching last week as your 2 potential final opponents were fighting Emmanuel Sanchez and Patricio Pitbull, both picking up wins. Could I get your analysis on those 2 performances?
Yeah. So the whole selection, Pitbull did a smart move. He switched Caldwell to my side of the bracket. He's got what, 3 people he's beat already on his side of the bracket now. And he took the easiest fight, Carvajal. Nothing against Carvajal. I think the guy has a lot of potential. I think he also just went into that fight way too cocky. So with that being said, Emmanuel Sanchez has got a lot of output. He's not a knockout artist. He's not a finisher. He doesn't have knockout power like that, but he puts out a lot of volume, and that's something that frustrates Patricio Pitbull, and that's what happened in their first fight. So it was a good fight. I saw a lot. Patricio's a power puncher. He's not someone you want to get caught by. I think it's going to be an interesting fight, and for me, it is what it is. I don't really care who it is. Either way, I'm going to kick their ass.
Steven?
Hey, so I think I know the answer to this, but who do you think you're going to face in the finals?
You probably weren't expecting this. So I've had a dream that I choked out Emmanuel Sanchez. So I don't know. And then watching that first fight, it was kind of close, So I think Sanchez might get the edge over him just because of the output. But if Pitbull touches him on that chin, that's going to be a problem. If he touches anybody on the chin, it's a problem. So I don't know. I hope Sanchez wins. If he wins, cool. I could beat his ass and let him know he barked up the wrong tree, calling me out and so forth. And then Patricio, I'm coming for that 155-pound title as well. So either way, we'll run it back to back, or if Sanchez wins, then he knows I'm still coming for that 55-pound title.
Do you often dream about prospective opponents?
No, I just randomly dream. So I don't know. I think it's like a gift from God he's given me. I just see glimpses of my life. I don't know when it's going to happen, what's going to happen. Like, I dreamt that I fought Georgie. I didn't know how the fight went. I kind of saw myself outside of the cage, and I saw myself in the cage with Georgie right here. And literally, it was an angle of a recording that a fan had tagged me in, and I saw it. I was like, oh, shit. Like, that's what I dreamt. So I didn't know how the fight went, but I knew I fought a good fight. I didn't see anything that happened, but I knew I wanted to go out and make a statement that fight, and that's what I did.
And when was the stream about Sanchez?
This is a while ago. This is probably before the Georgie fight. So I don't know when. We were scheduled to fight before he pulled out, probably because he knows he wasn't ready, and he probably still isn't ready. And even if he is ready, I'm gonna show him he's not ready. But I don't know. I call him the pillow puncher now.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Santiago.
Hi, AJ. Greetings from Amsterdam. How
How
is
you
your
doing?
father doing? And is he going to be in your corner?
Yeah, he's right here. He's keeping a gangster, harassing everybody. Surprised he's been quiet this long. He's always in my corner, man. That's Pops. I don't think I could fight without him. And even if I had to fight without him, there probably wouldn't be too many fights without him.
How special was it for you to share a card with your dad last year?
Oh man, it was surreal. That was probably one of like my favorite iconic moments of my career. Whether it's like that's probably over beating the world title, or getting the world title, just because like I've always watched him, and he's always watched me. So to be able to be the first father-son to go out there and win, I actually brought the idea to Bellator, and then, we went out there and we did it, we stole the show, he finished his guy, I finished my guy, and there's no one that has done that in any sport besides the Griffey, the Griffey father and son, and that's baseball. You know what I mean? It's not like this is MMA or boxing. There's a lot more trauma to the body. So for him to be 50 years old and still competing is phenomenal. I don't think I'll be competing at 50. And checks better be stupid large, but
Good luck on fight night, sir.
thanks.
Matthew, go ahead.
Hi, AJ McKee, Matthew on the Fight Night Picks. Just wondering, how do you feel fighting without a crowd? You're one of the more well-known guys in Bellator. You normally have a really big pop from the crowd. Do you think it will be any different fighting without that kind of energy in the arena?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. I think it's, especially for this fight, because like I was saying earlier, Caldwell likes to break. So there's no crowd to pump him up. There's no crowd. You know what I mean? It's literally mental preparation here. And that's something I'm always key and gamed onto is mental preparation. I'm going to leave it all in that cage. No crowd is even better. You know, I can hear what his corner's saying. He can hear what my corner's saying. The difference is I've had my father who's known me for 25 years as a coach. You know, I can tell the difference in codes of whether he actually wants me to shoot a takedown or he wants me to throw a kick, you know. So if you get caught up listening to what he's saying, you might get your head knocked off your shoulders.
Yeah, for sure. And last thing from me, you had kind of mentioned a future move up to 155 pounds. Is that something you plan on doing right after this tournament's over? Or is that something that's a little bit further on down the future after you defended the belt a few times?
I don't know. I've fought 16 people in this division. I've kind of, you know, this tournament, I had a fight to get into the tournament. I feel I've made a pretty big stamp on this on this division altogether. So, man, Patricio's got that 145 and 55 pound title. I said I was going to be a champ, 2015. So, I'm ready. You know, I don't see there's any need for me to hang around. Who else is there really to fight? I've walked through the tournament. I've walked through 16, 17, 18 individuals at that point at 145 pounds. So I don't think there's anything really left for me at this division.
Ben?
Good afternoon, AJ. Just two from me. So you're 16 fights deep into your career, all of them have come under the Bellator banner. You've been given a range of different styles to contend with during your developments, and as a result, you appear to look even better each time you go in there, even while the level of competition continues to go up. How much of a role do you think the way that Bellator has handled your career has played in you becoming the fighter you are today?
That's a big part. You know, you guys have seen some people get rushed. You've seen them kind of literally build me. You know, they work with me. They work with my father. You know, and that's why I've had time to kind of grow. You know, there were fights I was fighting with broke hands and so forth, but there's a lot of preparation going into fights and so forth. So I would say they've built me the right way, you know, and now that I'm ready, it's time to send it full go, you know. Whoever they want to shoot at me, let's do it. You know, I'm ready at this point. You know, I've been calling Patricio's name since day one. So it's prolonged with him, you know, it's overdue, and I'm looking forward to it. It's nothing personal there. You just got a couple pieces of property that belong to me.
And just one more. So I saw a really cool stat earlier, and I have to give credit to MMA Junkie for pulling it up. So you're currently tied with Anderson Silva for the longest winning streak in a major promotion at 16. So were you aware of that stat, and how do you feel about being on the verge of making history?
Nah, I was not aware of that. Man, that's my thing. You know, I like to make history. I like to keep win streaks going, and I'm all about the stats. You know, 16 fights, 11 finishes. You know, I think 9 of them in the first round. So just like basketball, how many threes you hit and how many twos you hit, and I'm looking to kill the stats and just really set the standard high. You know, I got a 3-year-old brother who's doing arm bars already. So when he steps into the mixed martial arts game, you know, he'll probably be the first world champion at 18. I guarantee that. And, you know, I got to set the bar high for him. You know, we're very competitive in our family. So my dad was undefeated, 8 years? I think I'm 4 years into my career now, 5 years into my career. So that's my first goal, beat Pops' record. You know, that's a parent's job, make your offspring better than you. So I got to make my little brother better than me.
We'll take a couple more here. Jake?
Hi, AJ. Jake Jones, MMA here. I think it's amazing how highly you speak of your father, and come the fight night, you're going to be representing Team Body Shop MMA. You've got a few of your team fighting beneath you on the card. Your father coaches you. How does it feel to be leading this team on the night, and what will it mean to you to compete for that title in the future?
You said to compete together in the future?
As in you and the whole team are competing on the night, and you are the main event for it. How does it feel to be in that position?
It's awesome, man. I wouldn't say I'm a leader in the gym. I don't try to think of myself as a leader because I see us all as equals. But yeah, I definitely stand out as the leader, and I think that's something I'm starting to pick up more in the gym, is being a leader. You know, all our egos, tempers. You know, we all want to be the best, so we all kind of try to outdo each other and beat each other, and that's what makes us so great. You know, at the end of the day, regardless, whether we get in fights with each other, we're going to tell each other we love each other at the end of the day, walk it off. And once that we walk out the gym doors, all right, let's go eat. So my dad's really done well at mentoring all the guys and making it to where it's a family, you know, just not a team. You know, he doesn't keep contracts on guys you don't feel comfortable by, you know, but it is what it is. So it's fun. I like fighting with the whole team. You know, back at the Forum last year, September, we had I think it was like 8 guys on the card. We had 7 guys come out with wins. So it's fun, you know, the guys that put in the work, you can see in their skill set how they're evolving, how they're becoming better. And I'm just proud to call them teammates and brothers, man. They're really growing, you know, and the better they get, the better partners that I have and the better that we can get as a unit.
Yeah, well, you guys are a fantastic team. Best of luck, mate.
Thank you.
All right, last question here comes from the line of Chris DeSantiago. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, AJ, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So, like it's been said in previous questions, you know, you've amassed an amazing record of 16 wins and no losses in your career at only 25 years old, which I find crazy. We saw Khabib retire at 29-0. So I have to ask, is there like an ideal or specific number of wins you'd like to earn while still undefeated?
Not really. You know, I've always said I'm going to be the Floyd Mayweather MMA. So getting this first title, then getting my second title, that's obviously 2 big steps. From there, you know, I haven't really set any goals past that. You know, those are 2 big accomplishments. I'd say defending those titles. Just see where the path takes me. You know, I don't really know where I'm going to go after that, what I'm going to do. I love Bellator. I've had all my fights here. I'd like to unify the belts, you know, show that the organizations don't make the fighter. You know, the fighter makes the organization, and I am the superior athlete in the world. And I think it'll be good. You know, there's a lot of brands I want to mess with, you know, Undefeated, Snickers. So I like being able to reach out and connect ties. You know, these are all big corporations. They all sit at their big tables and they're going to have conversations. And I want to be that person that they talk about and that I feel I can attach myself to and represent their brand well. You know, it's just sitting back, sticking to the plan. You know, I used to get all worked up about it and, oh, I need this, I got to get this done. Now I'm just enjoying the show. You know, I'm enjoying the ride and just being the best person I can inside and outside of the gym.
Great. Thanks for the time, AJ. Good luck this week.
Thanks for having me, guys. Expect for that finish.
We'll be right back with Jason Jackson. You can queue up your question for Jason by pressing the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen.
Sir.
All right, we are now being joined by Jason Jackson. Once again, we will begin with a few questions from the media here. Steve Jewin, we'll start with you.
Jason, thank you for the time today. You had an excellent outing against Jordan Main in your last fight, and now you're getting to fight the legendary Benson Henderson, former WEC and UFC lightweight champion. What does that mean for you at this point in your career?
Just another fight. I'm ready to go. Train the same way, train harder, and just ready to go. Show everybody that, you know what I'm saying, doesn't matter who they put in front of me, it's going to be the same result, same fashion.
I know you talked on your last media Q&A about how your spirituality and your sense of, heritage informs your fighting. So how do you bring that into a fight with Benson Henderson? What is that like for you?
Definitely, come out with some good vibes, good reggae, and, get my rhythm going and, get him up out of there.
All right. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jay Anderson, your line is now live.
Thanks very much, Jason. And just a couple of quick ones for me. First of all, we just found out about this fight relatively recently. How much time have you had to prepare for Benson?
Well, I haven't stopped training since the Jordan Mean fight. I went right back into the gym. I'm a guy who lives in and out the gym. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not training, I'm working outside the gym. I'm always doing something physical, always being active. So life it's like I'm training daily.
And just one other for me, do you find that people sleep on you a little? Because you did fight Colby Covington early in your career. You've got the win over Diego Lima. You had the Ultimate Fighter experience. Do you find that you get overlooked a little?
I'm used to it now. So I use it as something to put more fuel inside of me. Like, all right, I'm being overlooked. Wrong guy, watch. So definitely yes, to answer your question.
Donna?
Hi, Jason. How's it going? This is, of course, a massive fight. When you look at your record, the only person who really on your record has this sort of level of renown in the division or in the sport is maybe Colby Covington, and you would have fought him very early in your career. Talk to me a bit about what it means to be fighting such a massive name.
Well, that's something that I do, beat massive name and take on big moments and, dethrone the odds. That's just something that I'm here for. And, I'm looking forward to support everybody party that's having that. Ben Henderson is the same guy and he's going to come in and do what he do. No, it's going to be Jason's show.
He is a definite contender in the division below. Do you feel like you put yourself immediately into the contention for this for Douglas Lima's belt with a win over someone like Benson Henderson?
Well, it's up to the odds and Bellator to make that call. Me, I just have to go and deliver and do what I know how to do. And if I have to do more work other than that, I'm willing and able to do it. My mind is not closed and saying, yeah, once I beat Ben Henderson, this is it. No, once I beat Ben Henderson, if something come available, go back to the gym, train, and do the same thing again to when they're like, man, I'm tired of Jason Jackson.
Man, this is the toughest test of your career for sure. How important is it that you have had a previous chance to fight within the sort of the COVID bubble in Bellator, and you're prepared for that, the quarantine when you get in there, you've been able to adjust your training and be in there with no crowd, and now you're very much almost like a veteran of this weird time to be fighting in.
Yeah, well, I'm a survivor. Adapting and adjusting is like one of my strongest part of, just being alive. Just adapting to the weather, adapting to circumstance, just make it work without complaining. That's one of my strong points.
We have time for a couple more here. Matthew Allen, go ahead.
Hi, Jason. Just want to ask about the training situation at Stanford MMA. You come from a really big gym with a lot of great training partners. Who are some of those training partners who have helped you get ready for Benson Henderson?
we have a lot of different looks in the gym. I had DeMarquise Jackson, so much other small fighters that's coming up that you guys haven't yet to see and that have been working with. And I did a lot of work with other guys. We have a big team, so there's so much guys that to give different looks. That Ben Henderson is left-handed. He like to throw a lot of kicks and shoot a lot of singles. So, we get somebody that could, mimic that move.
Yeah, 100%. And we always see big improvements from you between every performance. What do you think you have improved on the most since your last fight?
Finishing, because I was just the guy that was just fighting for my paycheck. I wanted all of it. So that was one of the points I didn't felt like wasn't finishing the fights. But now I want to put everything together, put everything from Ed Rue fight to Kimi Moche and Jordan Mean. I want to put everything together with the intention of finishing.
Gareth?
I just got to play this for Julian just for 1 second from London Calling.
Run the damn city, skill a damn man city. Yard man with me, plus living the fat British. Burglar bar, chance to cool, we not have fishy. You know what I mean? You have fishy. You done rich, we not cooking.
Undisputed champion.
Yeah. No, the thing said. Vibes up, London man.
You know that song, don't you? Of course.
Yeah, man, we have that on Bridget Linton. I always play that.
There you go. There you go.
Linton Vessel.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
What's not? I mean, we spoke last time. What's nice about you is that you talk about how fighting for you comes so much from the core. Yeah. And that's why I was playing that music, because there's a core in you that brings you into this sport, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's what draw me to the sport. It's just natural, organic.
And do you draw on that when you're fighting someone like Benson Henderson? Because we know how experienced he is, what a name he is. He's a fantastic name for you to have in the win column on your resume, isn't he?
Yes. And Iron Will is what's gonna beat him and dethrone him. Iron Will, my Iron Will. The fact that I don't give up or quit and I won't stop.
It's always great to see you, Jason. I can't wait to meet you in person. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for all the good energy and the positive vibration.
Yes, thank you.
Stephen, go ahead.
Jason, if you had to predict the way that the welterweight division is going to shake out in the near future, what do you think's next for Douglas Lima?
Wow. Well, you have a lot of guys right now that sitting, waiting for title contention. You got Amazon, you got what's the other guy named Lorenz Larkin. You have so much other guys that's ahead right now. That the division just what they would call it, jammed up, blocked up, or whatnot. That just is waiting. So he have a lot of work to do.
What did you think about his fight against Gegard?
I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. I missed it.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, where do you fit in that picture? A win over Benson Henderson is nothing to shake a stick at. Where do you think you're going to sit in the picture of the welterweight division if you beat Benson?
Well, it's obviously all it's going to be way out on how I finish Ben Henderson, and if Bellator want to present me with the title shot, I would be grateful. If not, then I still would be grateful because I just beat Ben Henderson, and it would just shows that I belong in the top 5, top 10, wherever I belong. It's just this is what they're gonna show that this is my yard.
Do you watch your competition often? When you say you didn't watch the Gegard fight, is that just an unusual thing, or do you just not watch a lot of MMA when you're training?
I try to keep up with a lot of MMA, but sometimes when it comes on too late, I end up falling asleep. I might catch some of the shows in the beginner and whatnot, but I don't know why I didn't catch the Gengar, but I read about it online and all that, but I guess I didn't plan on watching it. It wasn't something on my mind. But if it comes down to fight in Douglas, then I had to put my undivided attention towards looking steadily and then.
What do you think of the matchup? Have you thought about it?
Oh yeah. Before, since the day that I beat his brother, and no disrespect to his brother, I love him, down to earth, but I felt like my victory over his brother was kind of like belittled, diminish a little, because they was like, his brother is tougher. So to me, I'm like, wow. Every time they mention one brother, I have to beat the other brother to be like, hey, it doesn't matter. Same way. So before I even got signed to the UFC, I don't know, in my intuition, I already am like, I want to go to Bellator just to fight Douglas Lima. I saw a lot of his video, but I start watching his video and I start becoming a fan of him. Like, man, this guy's really nice, but I still feel like I have what it takes to beat him. That was a long time ago before I become LFA champion.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
All right, Jason, thanks for the time and good luck this week.
Oh, thank you.
Up next is Keith Lee.
I'm serious. I believe you. I believe you. Volume puncher.
We are now being joined by Keith Lee. Please remember to press the raise hand button if you have a question. All right. We are now being joined by Keith Lee. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from our media joining us virtually today. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Thank you. And Keith, thank you for the time today. I won't play you any songs on the live stream because I don't want to get us all flagged for copyright, but is there any kind of jam that you really love when you're preparing for a big fight like Raufeon Stots?
Right now it's Christmas music. I'm listening to any kind of Christmas music to get me in the festive mode because I know as soon as this fight is over, I'm going right into Christmas. I'm kind of skipping over Thanksgiving and going right into the holidays.
Are you able to celebrate the holidays like usual, though, with all the COVID restrictions and everything?
Yes, because I don't really hang out with a lot of people. So it's just going to be me, my wife, and my newborn daughter. So I don't think anything changes for me because I've always been kind of an introverted kind of person. So I've always been kind of quarantined by myself.
Well, that's good. And congratulations to your growing family. And speaking of family, your brother's name often gets brought up on commentary when you're having Bellator fights. Do you ever feel that you get overshadowed a little bit by his success?
In the beginning, I did for sure. But it's just a part of my story. He's definitely a big part of who I am as a fighter and who I am as a person. So I don't really mind it. I know the day will come where it'll be Kevin Lee and Keith Lee and not just Kevin Lee and Kevin Lee's little brother. I feel like the day is coming naturally and it is slowly coming to this day. I definitely feel like it's coming soon. So it don't really bother me. It's just a part of what's supposed to happen.
All right. Best of luck on Thursday. Thank you.
Appreciate that, brother. God bless you.
Chris, your line is now live.
Hi, Keith. Chris from MMA on here. We last spoke 4 days before the arrival of your newborn baby. How much has your daughter and being a dad changed your life?
It's hard to explain because I don't feel like it really changed my life as far as the way I operate things, but it's definitely changed my life the way I look at life as a general sense. Just to know that I brought something into this world that contains my energy and contains my life, and she'll continue to grow my path of who I am as a person is insane to look at and really think about. And to see her every day, she becomes a completely different person. Like she was a newborn when I first had her. Now she's a baby, and then eventually she'll be an infant, then a toddler, and then a person. Like it's just crazy to see the evolutions and the steps like front hand. And she's the very first kid of my entire generation. The youngest kid before her is 20 years old. So just to watch a baby develop for the first time is insane to me.
Yeah, for sure. And, we saw Cowboy Cerrone, or should I say Dad Cerrone, go on an impressive win streak after having his kid. Does being a dad like a new fire in you to perform better than you have in the past?
We're going to find out. I haven't performed yet since I've been a dad. So it's only one way to find out. I've always been the kind of person to know that you don't really know what's going to happen until it happens. So I don't go into the fight with any expectations other than going out there and performing. So we'll find out. We'll see if it's different.
God bless you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Same to you.
Steven?
How's your sleep schedule with a newborn?
There is no sleep schedule. You get sleep whenever you possibly can. I try to sleep when she can. When she does, I hear that a lot, like sleep whenever the baby sleeps, but she'll sleep from 2 p.m. to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just can't do that with training. So I try to sleep as much as I can, but it's not a schedule at all. It's very sporadic. To say
hanging in there? Are you hanging in there?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Being away and at the hotel definitely helps a little bit. I've been sleeping like 8-9 hours since I've been here, but at home I'm sleeping like 2 to 3 hours. But I feel like everything happens for a reason, and everything makes you mentally stronger if you allow it to.
You said your brother's a big part of your career, your life as a fighter. How is having him injured with 2 injured knees affected your preparation?
In the beginning, it was really tough, just because I didn't have that mentor in my corner. But again, we learn and we grow through everything. Everything happens for a reason, and I knew that this was the time to really branch off and really allow myself to become my own staple in this game. And like I said, everything happens naturally. He's still here. He's here with me this week. He can't really move as much as he used to before, but his knees are healing really good, and I feel like he should be back within a couple months in order to train at his full capacity. So I don't think the time is too far away from him being able to completely train.
And what do you think of his new head tattoo?
It's not finished yet, so a lot of people have a misinterpretation of what it is. It's a samurai helmet, and it's supposed to represent the way that he feels when he goes into battle. It's like his warrior shield. So when it's done, I think it'd be interpreted way better than what it is now. A lot of people have a lot of things to say about it.
Well, what is missing from it now?
He just got to get the front of his neck, like if you ever put like on a samurai helmet and it comes all the way around the neck, like the shield part, and then the actual crescent that goes around behind his ears.
And will it go over his head too? If it's a helmet, doesn't it go over his head?
It only goes on the back and on the front of the neck.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm not familiar with samurai helmets, but that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Of course, brother.
Donna?
Hey, Keith, how's it going? Raufeon Stots is such an impressive fighter. I mean, he's 14-1. He's almost 10 years your senior. Talk to me a bit about what you're expecting from him and what a win over him does for your standing in this incredibly stacked division.
You sound like a big fan of his. It don't really, I'm not gonna lie to you, it don't really do much for me as a person. A fight is a fight. It's all about the elevation and going into the next chapter of my life. And that's gonna happen with or without Raufeon. Raufeon, as a person, doesn't do anything for me. Raufeon as a fighter, as like any other fighter, is gonna help me propel to the next step of my career, and it's gonna allow me to reach the next level of what I'm meant to be and what I'm supposed to be on this earth, and the grace of God.
Is it time that Bellator bring in a ranking system for you bantamweights? Because at this point, you guys are probably the premier bantamweight division in the world of mixed martial arts.
I agree. I for sure agree. Bellator has one of the most stacked divisions. I'm one of them people, I don't really look at rankings that much. Rankings definitely help in a general sense. So it would be amazing if we do have rankings, but me as a person, I wouldn't really pay attention to it, because you can have a guy that's ranked number 1 get beat by a guy that's ranked number 9, but beat everybody else. So rankings are very flawed, but it definitely helps in a general sense. So to answer your question, I would definitely be down for a ranking system for sure.
I mean, your brother knows that more than anyone, right? That he's had so many ups and downs on that system over in the other place. One more, in terms of the bantamweight division, is there anybody who kind of gets your goat, who if they were to hand you the book and say you can make a matchup, is there anyone in the division you would like to face particularly? And you know, there's certainly some talkers in there. Anyone you'd like to maybe shut up?
Me. When I go in there, I'm always fighting me. It's always me versus myself. Whenever I step into the cage, I'm looking myself directly across the cage, and I'm staring myself directly in the eye, and I'm going out there and I'm fighting my own demons. So to answer your question, me.
Last question here comes from the line of Matthew Allen. Go ahead, Matthew.
Oh, hi, Keith. Matthew Allen of Fight Night Picks. You had said after your fight with Vinicius Zaney that you were targeting killers. Is Raufeon Stots the type of killer that you were sort of targeting?
Absolutely. He's definitely on the line of, like how you heard the last reporter, he's definitely on the line of a lot of people's radar as being a great fighter. And I agree, he is a great fighter. But he's just a part of my stepping stone. And I feel like this is one of those fights where nobody can take away anything, and nobody can say, even with Vinicius Zaney and Sean Bunch, I don't think anybody was able to say that I took an easy fight or pillar fights. And it's just, it helps me sleep at night knowing that I'm out fighting the best in the world, and I am the best in the world. And it just allows me to really know that I'm making my stake in this game, and I'm really just following my path.
And do you think with a win, you'll actually get verified on Instagram finally?
I hope so. I've been trying to get verified on Instagram for like 3 years now. So if Instagram is listening, I definitely need to be verified. I feel like I have more of a verification reason than most people that are verified right now.
Thanks for the time, Keith. Good luck this week.
Brother. Thank you.
Up next for us is Bobby Lee. If you have a question for Bobby, please press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. We'll begin in just a moment. All right, we are now being joined by Bobby Lee. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from our media. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Bobby, thank you for the time today. In your last outing, you had a really impressive performance against Michael Hill. Obviously, that got Bellator's attention. So now you're on a card with another mercenary, but you're not fighting the mercenary. You're fighting an undefeated fighter named Joey Davis. So how are you feeling about that fight in your debut for Bellator?
I'm just trying to contain my excitement. I'm just trying to be calm, cool, and collected, but really my energy is like bursting out of my skin because I've worked my whole life for this moment, and it feels very good to be fighting someone like Joey Davis. For people that don't know who Joey Davis is, he was a 4-time national champion. He's one of 3 men to ever go undefeated college wrestling. So he's a phenomenal competitor. He was signed to Bellator out of college. So he's had his entire career in Bellator. He's 7-0. I think he has 5 first-round finishes. To be honest, I think he's gotten some favorable matchups, like some layups to build his career, build some momentum. But they're bringing me in for his eighth Bellator fight, which is like, that's cool, because they needed to find like a better opponent for him. To make this guy a better star, they had to bring in some talent. And here I am, ready to make my Bellator debut, and it's right away, the feature fight on the main card. It's phenomenal, because the guy on deck after me is a former UFC world champion. That means a lot to me. I'm going to be 25 in a couple months, and it's just like, this opportunity, had I gotten it a couple years ago, I might have blown it. I've got some losses on my record, but those losses were their experience. And experience is a phenomenal teacher, because it teaches you what you don't want to learn. I've learned lessons about patience. I've learned lessons about my threshold as far as like getting submitted and all that stuff. So it's like, I'm getting this opportunity at a good point in my career. I'm ready to capitalize.
Well, speaking of those losses, I know you fought some really good names in the past, like DeMarcus Jackson and Khalid Moita, and guillotine choke was the weapon of choice in both of those losses. So have you improved your jiu-jitsu game since that time?
Absolutely. Michael Hill, he must have studied some tape. He was going for that submission repeatedly. And I again, from those losses I had, I've learned that where my threshold is. I've put myself in bad situations in training to get comfortable there, to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions. So Mike Hill, his only hope was that Hail Mary guillotine, but it did not work. He went for it several times, and he burned his arms out, and I controlled every second of the fight.
So final one from me then. You've already talked about Joey Davis and his impeccable wrestling credentials, and that's a formidable challenge, even though he's been given some fights that built him up to where he is now. So how do you feel you can hand him his first loss where others haven't?
So he, since his wrestling days, has worked on his striking considerably. He's got some spinning back kick knockout. He's got a flying knee. He's got an overhand right. I mean, so he has worked on his striking. He has not had to go to his wrestling. I feel like I'm going to punch him in his face, and he's going to realize that my striking is better than his, and he's going to have to go to plan B, which is get the takedown. But what's different between him and I is, after high school, I went straight MMA. I've been in the gym working on mixed martial arts, working on wall wrestling, working on jiu-jitsu. So I'm ready to fight him in every way possible. And it'll be a good fight. I mean, my whole game plan is to make it a mean and nasty fight and punch him in his face and test him to his full limits.
All right. Well, we saw that with Michael Hill. We hope to see that again on Thursday. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Dunno?
Bobby, I had no faith in you until I heard you start talking. I thought Joey had this in the bag for sure, but this is certainly a fight where if Bellator could pick the result, he would be the guy who gets the hand raised, right? On national TV, it's a big exposure fight for him. Are you enjoying coming in and maybe playing the role of spoiler a little bit?
100%. I have more experience than him, so it's interesting. I mean, I've got 5 more wins than he has. But yeah, like you said, he is the poster child. He's the guy they want to build up as a star. But it's not like they have zero faith in me. This is not a 1-fight deal. They've given me a 4-fight contract, and I'm going to let them know on fight number 1 that I am the guy to build up.
You mentioned that you have a 4-fight deal. I mean, is there anyone in the division? Because this win would immediately put you in the talks to be fighting the bigger names in the division, of course, because Joey is such a big name as it is. Is there anyone you would like? I see a smile on your face. I feel like maybe there is someone you're planning on calling out.
Well, there are no easy fights, so why not call out a big name? Why not call out MVP? You know, it's just let's get the ball rolling. If I beat Joey Davis in a feature fight, well, why not step up to a co-main event in my next fight? Why not go overseas and fight MVP in his home base?
So not only do you want to fight MVP, you want to go when the crowds are allowed back, when we're all allowed to travel. You want to go to London, to the Wembley Arena. This is MVP's home, and that's where you want to take him on. That's the shot you're calling.
So one thing about fighting that has just been one of the things I've always wanted to do is travel the world, see the world, and have my fists take me around the planet. So why not go to London and fight him?
Matthew?
Hi, Bobby. Matthew Allen of Fight Night Picks. You just mentioned about how excited you are for this week, this being your Bellator debut. How are you kind of staying centered, not getting too excited or too caught up in the moment before this fight?
I've never dealt with nerves poorly. Like I've never puked in the locker room before a fight. I've just always expected to compete against good people. I'd credit my coaches growing up, my wrestling, my football coaches. I'm just generally a centered person. So fighting has the highest highs and the lowest lows. There's no feeling worse than losing in the cage. But one thing that my striking coach has talked to me about is Thai fighters will have hundreds of fights in their career. They don't win all the fights. They need to stay a little bit more in the center, not plateaued, but don't get too high and don't get too low. Just stay centered and everything will work out.
And you mentioned some of the losses that you've had and just the improvements that you've been able to make from those losses. Do you think that really does give you an edge going into this fight? Because Joey Davis, he's never actually met his equal to this point. Do you think the fact that you have had to rebuild yourself after losses will be a big advantage going into this one?
Absolutely. I have faced adversity in the form of losses. I was told by my dad to quit fighting after my first loss, but all it was he wanted to protect me from getting hit and that kind of thing. It's one thing about fighting is you're gonna get punched. One thing I've been telling myself about this fight is I'm let's go get some stitches. I know I'm gonna go get punched, so why not embrace it? One thing about my last fight is I was just genuinely smiling in the fight. And the commentator, CM Punk, said I looked like a psycho. But it's just enthusiasm. It's a fight. Bring it. Let's go. Joey Davis, his whole thing is a black ice. He's just the stoic kind of look. I'm not going to be too stoic tomorrow night. I'm going to be smiling. I'm going to be happy. Example, Manny Pacquiao, one of my favorite fighters growing up, genuinely just smiling, happy on the way to the cage on the way to the ring because this is what we love. I love to compete. It's super cliche to say that I would be doing this if there was no money, but I did do this for no money for a while. I was not making, Joey Davis was signed to Bellator right away in his career. My first couple of fights, I was not making, I was making gas money type of fight money. So it's I've proven myself as a martial artist, and now I get to go get the opportunity to compete as a prize fighter.
All right, we'll take one or two more. Giancarlo?
Hi, Bobby. You mentioned before some of the goals you have past this fight, but coming into this one, do you think you have some sort of an advantage because you fought more recently than he did?
If you listen to someone like Dominic Cruz, he doesn't believe in ring rust. It's just about all the preparation in your mind. I don't think Joey Davis is going to have ring rust. So I've heard he's in training camp out in Big Bear. That's like a legendary kind of training experience. I would love to have an experience like that. Bring a team of guys out and be out in seclusion, out in the mountains. That sounds like some real Rocky movie stuff. But he probably won't have ring rust, but it does feel great to have fought 2 months ago. I do feel like I won't have any jitters going into this because I compete. I competed recently, and it's gonna feel at home in the cage.
And final one for me. This whole pandemic has caused fighters to maybe have the reset button, maybe change the way they do things or learn something about themselves. What has this pandemic made you learn about yourself as a fighter?
Well, like a little bit of a brush of or a breath of fresh air, because I legitimately got outside the gym. I got outside. I was running, and I live out in the middle of nowhere, out on a dirt road, and I'm out there running. And there's a bison farm to the left. There's a Holstein farm to the right, and I just kind of. I got my mind clear. Like running is a fantastic thing for clearing your mind. So I just I put my energy into staying in shape, trying to improve my gas tank, my workload capacity, so that when the gyms did open up, I was not sucking wind. I was like right back on it, just like there had not been a day off.
All right. Thank you very much for the time, Bobby, and good luck the rest of the week. Looking forward to Thursday night.
Thanks, guys.
We will be joined shortly by Jeremy Kennedy. All right, we are now being joined by Jeremy Kennedy. Bear with me for just a second here.
Oh, no.
We are now being joined by Jeremy Kennedy. We'll begin with a few questions from our media joining us virtually today. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Jeremy, thank you for the time today. I want to go back for just a moment to your PFL fight with Daniel Pineda and the fact that that ended up being a no contest. Are you still frustrated that that whole situation played out?
No, I mean, you can't be frustrated at that anymore. Everyone else has their own decisions. You know, that's something I couldn't control at all. And the way I look at it now is it brought me to here. If not, I would have won that tournament and I would be locked down in sitting on my butt, waiting for next season. And that gave me the opportunity to be free, explore other options and express interest in Bellator. And that's what brought me here. And it's a blessing in disguise. Everything's led me to this point. I know I can't really focus on the negatives of all that stuff. I'm just happy with where I'm at now. And I'm looking forward to moving forward.
Well, it sounds like you're in a good place mentally then, and you've got a good challenge in front of you with longtime veteran Matt Bissett. So how do you see yourself matching up with him?
Yeah, it's a good matchup. I like it. I like guys that have lots of fights. They're durable. They've been around. There's lots of footage on them. A lot of people know lots about them. And I think he's the type of guy that's going to bring the best out of me. And I don't say that because, he's going to challenge me on the feet and on the ground. He's game everywhere, and he's a guy that I have to use everything to put him away. I'm not just going to be able to go out there and outstrike him and knock him out, or go out there and shoot a double leg, take him down and submit him or whatever. I'm going to have to pick him apart everywhere, from the feet to the floor. So that's what I look to do. And that's going to showcase a lot of my skill in this debut. So I think it's a perfect fight for where I'm at right now.
One more thing for me, if I could. With a combined almost 50 fights between the two of you, would you have preferred to have been a little higher on the card, maybe up on the main card?
Yeah, I thought that too, but I don't think there's, I think there's only 3 fights on the televised part, so that's pretty hard to contend with these other guys who've been in Bellator, or you got your Benson Henderson, you got the Grand Prix semifinal. So I mean, it's all good to me. It's a fight no matter what. I mean, it's my first time fighting in the pandemic. I'm staying right, 3 floors up. I'm gonna walk down and beat some dude up and then go back up to my room right after. So it doesn't really matter to me. There's no crowd anyways, so I'm not focused on the eyes behind CBS or YouTube or the zone, whatever it is. I'm just focused on waking up that morning, going down and doing my job, and going back up to my room and hanging out and watching the rest of the fights.
All right. Well, best of luck doing your job on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Donna?
Hey, Jeremy, you fought in a lot of different locations. You've done the 2 fights in one night thing. You've fought in Saudi Arabia. How does the whole bubble experience, the pandemic fight experience, compare to some of the more farther stretches you fought in during your career?
Yeah, man, it's something I wanted to add on the list. I fought in Australia, Brazil, Saudi, Morocco. Yeah, I've done it all, and this just helped prepare me for something like this, not knowing what to expect, this being my first time. Always just knowing I've had bad weight cuts in the past, just knowing to always have that dialed in before I get on a plane, because 90% of my flights have been traveling overseas or long travel trips. And so when you land, you don't know what you're going to expect, what kind of water you're going to get, what food you're going to get. The quarantine was the first time for me here, so just taking all that kind of stuff in and being prepared ahead of time is what helped me. And I mean, Bellator's got this pretty dialed in. They've been doing this for a while now, in the same location, same team, same system. So it kind of makes things easier knowing that their procedures work. They know how to do it. It's not their first time either. It'd be a little different. Maybe their first event would be a little bit more of a, a disaster on weight cut or any little things getting ready for a fight or mentality or whatever. But to me, especially with the long layoff, I think the no crowd in the COVID times is almost going to play a benefit to my the long layoff. It's just it just relieves a little bit of stress of I haven't had that big crowd feeling in a year, and now I'm still not going to, right? So and a lot of these guys aren't going to, and I'm just a big empty arena. I'm going to go do my job, put this guy away, and call it a day.
You mentioned the weight cut. You mentioned that you've had some tough weight cuts in the past. Of course, we have seen some issues. Jaleel Willis is on this card, missed weight for his last fight. Kerry Taylor Melendez last week. Do you feel like the bubble experience is going to affect that cut at all?
Nope, not at all. I feel great. I'm actually lighter today, which I have weigh-ins tomorrow morning, than I have ever in all of my weight cuts. And the weight cut prior to this was I was a backup for the PFL finals in December, and not even having a fight, I had a lot more no stress, you're not carrying that extra weight of the fight stress and all that stuff. And I was even lighter than then. So I'm ready to make weight, man. I wish the weigh-ins were tonight. It's just a matter of starving right now. And like I said, I just took care of everything prior. I've been in training camp since September. I flew from BC to Vegas, and I wasn't coming back until I got a fight because of the quarantine and all that stuff. So I couldn't sacrifice going home for 2 weeks and sitting in my house, so I flew out to Vegas. I didn't even have the Bellator contract at the time or anything. I flew out, and I wasn't leaving until I had got a fight. So I was training like I was going to fight short notice on any given weekend since September 9th. So, I mean, we're looking at 10 weeks of dieting hard. My weight's been low. My training's been solid. So I expect the best me to be on Thursday, and the weight cut's just part of it. It's been the best weight cut too.
The last one from me. You have been in there with the current best in the world, the featherweight champion of the world right now. Do you ever envision at some point in your career maybe that you're going to get that one back, maybe a few years down the line?
I mean, wishful thinking in a sense of I'm in Bellator, and I plan to stay here, permanently. And he's in the UFC. He's obviously planning on staying there permanently. But if they ever want to do a cross promotion thing, like that is one, just as a competitor aspect, I want that one back, because I feel like I didn't show up. If I would have went out there and fought my heart out and lost, then I would be able to live with that. But that's my only loss unavenged, that I would love to get back just as a competitor standpoint, but it is what it is. We've gone different paths. He's done phenomenal since then. So I'm happy for him. It's not like I hold a grudge or anything like that, or I'm gunning for him, but we're on different paths, so I would love to run that one back again, but I don't see that in the future or anytime soon anyways.
We'll take one or two more. Matthew?
Hi, Jeremy. Matthew Allen of Fight Night Picks here. Just wondering, it has been over a year since you have last competed. What do you think you've improved upon the most since the last time we have seen you?
Man, tons. That's the craziest thing, is because I haven't fought, but I've been in a training camp after training camp, so right after the playoffs, I was a backup alternate for the finals. So I jumped right back into training camp, dieted all through Christmas, all that stuff, did my training camp. And then I had about a month off in January. Then I started getting ready for the next season that was supposed to start in end of April. So I was actually down in Vegas and California doing my camp at AKA and Extreme Couture when the world shut down and all that. So I came home, in those 2 weeks of everything dead and shut down, I didn't know that the tournament was canceled or anything. So, I'm at home. I had a spin bike. I'm running. I'm doing everything. And then it got canceled, and I didn't know what was going on next because I'd got my release. So I was training for anything all throughout the summer. So I've been a workhorse, man, this whole year. So I just think my whole aspect, from jiu-jitsu, I during a lot of the quarantine when the gyms were closed, I threw the gi back on, which I hadn't done in a long time. And I was doing gi jiu-jitsu probably 2 hours a day for a few weeks. And then my striking, I was consistently hitting pads in the garage with my striking coach. And I got to focus a lot on everything specific and not just hard sparring or hard wrestling. A lot of technique. So I think my whole game got better.
Nice. And last thing for me, any junior bacon cheeseburgers lined up for after Thursday?
Cannot wait. They don't have a Wendy's here, so it's killing me. Oh. But on the flight home, I'm sure they're going to have something. And if not, it's the first stop I get when I land. But I've been craving them, man. I can't wait. It's been a while.
All right. Thanks for the time today, Jeremy, and good luck the rest of the week.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll begin here with Joey Davis momentarily. If you have a question for him, please press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. All right, we are now being joined by Joey Davis. We'll begin with a few questions from our media joining us virtually today. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Joey, it's Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. Thank you as always for the time. And I wanted to first ask you about the comments we heard earlier from Bobby Lee. He was walking a very fine line, I would say, between being complimentary and noting your great wrestling pedigree, but also saying that Bellator had protected you in being undefeated in 7-0. So do you feel there's any disrespect there?
Nah, he's speaking what he thinks is on his mind, and what he heard through the grapevine. But I mean, he is an MMA fighter, and he has to be who he has to be. So I don't think he was rude at all.
One other point that he brought up was that he thinks he's learned more from his losses and they've made him a better fighter, and you've never had to go through that kind of adversity in your professional career. But what would you say to that?
I mean, that's a very good statement of him. A lot of athletes say that they learn from their losses, but you can learn from a lot in life. You don't have to always take a L. You can learn from winning as well. So, tuning up on your skills, watching film, watching your role models, watching, people who've done it before you. So, I mean, but I'm sure he probably, have learned a lot from his losses.
Well, I guess that would be the last one from me then is, did you study film on him, especially that last fight he had with Michael Hill?
What was that again?
I was just wondering, since you mentioned film, if you had seen any film like his last fight with Michael Hill and picked up anything from that.
I haven't watched any of his films about Michael Hill. No. But I watched little clips of his little highlights and stuff like that, and but as for the most part, I'm ready just to showcase my talent. And I just know that he was a CFF champ, an organization that he came from. So that already sparked the plug in me, is that, he has a good revenue there. I have a good revenue with Bellator so far. So it's just going to be a heck of a show.
All right. Well, it'll open the show on Thursday, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Matthew Allen.
Hi, Joey. Matthew Allen of Fight Night Picks. Real quick, based on your last opponent, or not your last opponent, based on your upcoming opponent, Bobby Lee, he had said that after this fight, if he is victorious on Thursday, he'd like to start calling out, some of the bigger names in the division. Michael Venom Page was the name that he had brought up. Is that something that you have in mind too, that if you do win on Thursday, you do kind of want to start getting some of those bigger fish in the 170 pond?
I have other things on my mind right now, but that'll eventually be down the road. But right now I'm worrying about just getting into my own house, getting some real estate, experiencing life a little more, traveling, celebrating all the things that I have accomplished. Because what's going on right now, you never know what you have to do tomorrow. You never know what's going to happen. So that's my main focus.
And last thing from me, being a team body shot guy, how does it feel having other guys from your camp around in fight week?
It's such a great thing to have. We're all young. I just made a post, on my Instagram, with us on there, me, Kimbo, and AJ. We grind together, we shine together, and body shot for life. So, I live by that, and it's just a great thing to have.
Awesome. Thank you, Joey. Best luck on Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, Donna.
Hi, Joey. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not too much. You mentioned that you had some other stuff on your mind. Could you expand a bit on what exactly you meant by that?
Just, experiencing life. I want to do a lot more traveling. There's more things that I want to do.
for my little sister, making sure that she understands that you got to work for everything in life. Um, you know, there's things that I still need to learn in life. Fighting isn't everything. But for the meantime, it's war right now. So that's all my main focus on. I focus on the moment, and that's all I can handle. And that's what I'm ready. That's what I'm going to be ready for on Thursday, November 19th. Is just ready for war.
In terms of the moment, this is a pretty big one for you coming up on Thursday. If you win, it's going to be a massive audience watching you on television on CBS. Of course, you're known to have some spectacular wins in your resume. What does a win on Thursday night do for you, even outside of the cage, like in what you were talking about?
A win for me is just showing that all the hard work paid off, and that's what it's mostly about. It's been a long journey, and this is going to be my fourth, 4.5 year in Bellator. So, I'm moving on up, and it's just another stepping stone and another opponent in the way.
You've been in there in training with AJ McKee, of course. What's going to happen in the main event, do you think?
Oh, I think that Bellator is going to be very shocked by what AJ does. It's just going to be a remarkable performance. I'm friends of both of them. I've been knowing AJ since everybody knows a long time, and also been knowing Darrion since in the wrestling world and since I was like in 10th grade. So, and I'm just looking forward to it myself, and that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? It's just laying it all out there, and I'm pretty sure those two are gonna do it.
Thank you, man.
Lenny March.
Hi, Joey. How are you? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Great, glad to hear. Yeah, just the one question from me. So you're 7-0 in your pro MMA career, and all them fights came under the Bellator banner. 5 of them fights you actually finished. Are you looking to make that 6 this Thursday?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here to put on a spectacular performance. I want to put on something that Bellator hasn't seen before from me. Laying it all out there, and I'm really pushing my cardio. I feel like that's something I've been working on for a long time, and now it's time to let that fly.
Yeah, perfect. Good luck this Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, Joey, thank you very much for the time today, and good luck the rest of the week.
Oh, thank you, guys.
We'll be joined shortly by Raufeon Stots. All right, we are now being joined by Raufeon Stots. Raufeon, this is your second fight in the fight sphere and the fight bubble here. You kicked it off for Bellator's first show during the pandemic. Can you speak on what it's been like here, your second week at Mohegan Sun?
Yeah, it's more of the same. You know, everything I feel like is ran, you know, very high quality. Everything is like I feel very safe and I feel very prepared. So I'm definitely happy that I got another fight before the end of the year. You know, I'm super excited about it. So I can't wait to perform on Thursday. That's the only difference. I fought on Friday last time. I'm fighting on Thursday for CBS.
All right, we'll turn it over here to our media joining us virtually. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Raufeon, thank you for the time. And since your fight with Cass Bell has already been mentioned on the call, how do you feel that your next opponent, Keith Lee, compares to your previous fight?
I feel like Keith Lee is a little bit more experienced. I feel like he's a lot like me. He's athletic. He's pretty much good everywhere. You know, I just feel like I have the tools and the knowledge to take advantage of some areas that he isn't as good at. And you know, I feel like I have the tools to be a little bit better than him in every area. So
you've already got an incredible record amassed to this point, 14-1. So where does another win put you in this stacked bantamweight division?
I think that puts me right into title contention. You know, I was slated to fight Josh Hill before that, and it was mentioned to me that it was a title contention fight. So I'm right in the picture with those names that are in title contention. You know, I could fight for the title here in 2-1. You know, I've been offered a title fight before, so I'm right there.
All right, we look forward to the fight on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna.
Hi, Raufeon. How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Keith Lee doesn't, you know, you mentioned he's a bit more experienced, but of course he's a big name in the bantamweight division. I mean, a win over Keith Lee certainly puts you in the discussion to be fighting the bigger names in the division. Can you talk to me a bit about what happens for your career after you get the W against Keith?
Yeah, I think for sure that this is a stepping stone for me fighting those big names. Like his name is big enough because of him and because of his brother. His name is a kind of a trophy in itself. After this fight, I think I'll have more of the same, you know, so I'll be able to fight more of those big name guys, those guys that a lot of people know about, you know, like people inside of MMA community and you know, the really experienced people kind of know who I am, but people outside of that don't know who I am. So it'll be more of me kind of fighting those guys that everybody knows about.
There's certainly a lot of big names in that bantamweight division in Bellator. Do you feel like it's time now that the promotion bring in an official ranking system so you guys know exactly where you stand? Because there's still no title. There's only just after getting a champion. Sorry, I forgot that one. But they're only just after getting a champion, and there's so many contenders now. Leandro Ego is up there. You've got all sorts of names. James Gallagher. Do you feel like it's now time for Bellator to get a ranking system in place for your division?
I think definitely. I think a ranking system would benefit. You know, just so guys kind of know where they're at in Bellator. But I also feel like that kind of hinders a lot of people from fighting. Like a guy like me, like not a lot of people. There's not a lot of reasons to fight me. You know, so I feel like if I had a number, if I didn't have a number, then it'd be even more reason for them not to fight me. So. I can see where they don't, but I think for me, I think it'll be beneficiary.
Anybody in the division you particularly dislike and would like to step in there with?
There's nobody I really dislike. I think a fight for me, whatever fights are gonna get me toward the belt. I think James Gallagher is funny, you know. So I like to fight him because I think his the way he carries himself is pretty hilarious to me. So yeah, I would like to fight him, but also Patchy Mix, he just fought for a title. You know, I was slated to fight him before. He said he would only fight me if there was a title involved. So I would like to fight him. You know, any of those bigger name guys. You know, I'm looking to move up.
You mentioned that buzzword, James Gallagher. He is the guy who every bantamweight, UFC, Bellator, every promotion is always talking about. Do you actually like James Gallagher though? Like deep down, do you think you mentioned that he's
No, I
funny? You
think
mentioned that
he's
you like that.
to an extent. I think he's funny. I mean, to me, he's hilarious to me. I think the way he carries himself. So I like that about him. You know, if he didn't carry himself like that, I would lose some joy in my life. So, yeah, I think it's pretty funny.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Lenny March.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. So, heading back to your last fight at Bellator 242, you said post-fight that you're finding it hard to find an opponent, and Keith Lee stepped up on this fight. Was it hard to find an opponent for this fight, or did anyone turn you down, or was it quite easy to get in a fight this time around?
No, I've had a fight with Josh. The thing with me, like only guys who are looking to get to the top are usually looking to fight me. So I had a fight with Josh Hill before this fight, but he got injured during the camp, so that fight wasn't able to come through. And Keith Lee is a guy that's, you know, he's looking to make strides and make big jumps in his game, and he's looking to be the best. So he jumped on an opportunity to fight me.
Yeah, can't wait to see you back Thursday.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Santiago.
Hi, Mr. Stots. Greetings from Amsterdam. How are you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. So who is going to be in your corner on fight night?
So I have Gerald Mearshart, a UFC fighter, and then Jordan Griffin, also a UFC fighter. Two of my teammates. Gerald Mearshart is also my jiu-jitsu coach now.
Do you think this fight will be on the feet or on the ground?
I think this fight will be a little bit of everything. You know, I think both of us are very well rounded, and you'll see a little bit of everything, if not at least just threatening of a lot of things. So I can see this fight, you know, going everywhere. I plan this fight going everywhere.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for the time today, Raufeon. We will be joined shortly by Darrion Caldwell. All right, we are now being joined by Darrion Caldwell. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from our media joining us today virtually. Santiago, go ahead. Santiago, your line is now live. All right, we'll move on to Steve Jewin. Steve, go ahead.
Darrion, thank you for the time today. It's been almost a year now since your last fight, your finish with Adam Boric, and obviously you've been waiting to face AJ McKee for that entire duration. So how has this pandemic affected you and your training?
Well, obviously gyms have been shut down, but when you're a hardcore MMA fighter and you just really do this for a living, you're gonna find a way. So it hasn't really affected me much, you know. I've been able to stay in the gym, keep up with my body, and probably one of the biggest things would be, you know, as fighters, we take a lot of damage in the practice room. So that's probably where we get the most licks. The last 9 months have been a grind for sure. It's been a dogfight, but you know, it's got me better in a lot of areas. So for me, just normal.
And we've heard that AJ McKee would like to have a spectacular performance against you. Obviously, you would like to have a spectacular performance against him. So how do you see the fight playing out when you're both gunning for such a big prize at the end of this featherweight Grand Prix?
Well, you know, it's you take it fight by fight. You know, obviously AJ is the next guy in line. The way I performed my last fight, I don't see anything shorter than that one. You know, I think I'm gonna go out there and have my way with AJ. He's a great competitor. He's an up and comer, but I think I just got the tools to beat him.
All right, we look forward to finding out Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna, go ahead.
Hey, Darrion, how's it going?
What's up, D?
Not too much. You and AJ back at the press conference back in March, back when there was no COVID-19, all the gyms were open, and you were set to fight. You had a little bit of a fracas at that press conference. How's the relationship now between you guys? I mean, have you seen him at the hotel or anything like that?
Yeah, you know, again, this is business, you know. So anytime someone's in a way of your business, you either got to do something about it or you just make that thing non-existent. And so for me, he's been non-existent in the last 8 months to me, outside of just another number that I got to knock down.
In this featherweight Grand Prix, there are a lot of people who have jumped around divisions. Of course, Patricio Pitbull just fought last week. He's going to be a potential finalist opponent for you, and he is going to have to. Let's say he were to fight you in the final, he would have to then, his next fight, win or lose, would have to be at lightweight because he's got another title there. Are you completely finished with fighting at bantamweight at this point, or do you think you have another run to the title there?
I mean, I've been saying this for years, and I don't think you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm the bantamweight king, okay? And when I get back down there, it's on and popping when I get.
What do you think of the current champion, Juan Archuleta?
Juan is great. He's a great fighter. You know, he's been a champion in pretty much every organization he's fought in. So for me to have a guy like that, because when I was coming up in the rankings, let's be honest, it wasn't a lot to turn to. I mean, we had Joe Warren, who he's done a lot, but when you just match us up, it's just not a fair fight. But it wasn't much to base, you know, me off, you know. So we brought in Horiguchi. Horiguchi had a great 2 nights. Kind of put me to the back of the line, you know. And then Archuleta steps up. He gets the title. But you know, to have guys like Archuleta, Horiguchi, Sergio Pettis in the weight class at 35, it just makes it more fun, makes it more realistic for me when I'm talking best bantamweight in the world.
Who do you think is going to be facing you in the final? Is it going to be Emmanuel Sanchez or is it going to be Patricio Pitbull?
I just want to see the Pitbull.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Santiago here. Santiago, your line is now live.
Hi, Darrion. Greetings from Amsterdam. Who is going to be in your corner?
Jacob Benny. He's been my head coach pretty much throughout my whole career. I also added Coach Sam. He's one of my striking coaches, and Bobby Green will be there as well.
Thank you. Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thanks.
Jay Anderson, go ahead.
Thanks very much. Darrion, welcome back, man. You started your own career 9-0, so I mean, you know what it's like to be an undefeated fighter like AJ. You also know what it takes to come back from defeat. Is there something in the losses in that experience that gives you the edge over AJ, given he hasn't had to go through that adversity?
Yeah, I think adversity definitely can make or break you, you know. And for me, I've been through adversity throughout my whole life, you know. You look at the media today, you know, the way you just look at the way things go, you know, it's a lot of black on black crime, right? And so first I'm here to say this is the only place this should be black on black crime is in the cage. You gotta beef, you got a difference with your own people, your own kind, you know, settle it the right way. Like there's plenty of ways to do it, but you know, adversity just comes by nature. You know, I was born to lose, built to win, you know, and so it's just nothing. It's everything normal.
Well said. And I want to ask you about something he said earlier. He said, you know, you're going to shoot. He's got elbows, and he feels his jiu-jitsu is going to be there. He feels that might be overlooked. You're an NCAA wrestler. Do you think he's maybe taking your wrestling lightly?
Yeah, I think he's super confident because he's undefeated, you know, but he hadn't felt my pressure. He hadn't felt, you know, the way I move, the way I put pieces together in a split second is just not like anybody else. So I think once he feels that, he's gonna have a different thought. He's gonna have to keep it to where he's best at, you know.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Giancarlo.
Hi, Darren. Hope you're doing well. Coming into this fight now with AJ McKee, hasn't really had too many flaws exposed in his fights. Who have you worked close with in your camp to lead up to this and make sure you're the most prepared for it?
You know, we just take this camp just like any other camp. It's no different from me fighting Adam, me fighting Henry Corrales, you know, me fighting Haraguchi. You know, we just take these fights and build off what I'm good at. We look at some tendencies. We know that, you know, he's fought guys that weren't like me. They don't move like I move. So really just focusing on myself and focusing on adding to my game.
And final one for me, looking around the landscape of MMA, you're competing in featherweight and bantamweight too. Do you think both those divisions in Bellator get the credit and respect they deserve from others who just watch the UFC?
I do. I don't think the rankings make any sense. You know, it's all bullshit in terms of, you know, the UFC guys get automatic top whatever spots, but I know I done train with the best UFC guys, and I know damn well I'll go in there and smash these guys just like I do here in Bellator. So it's just I don't know. For me, it's about the money, man. I'm in this for, you know, to be able to support myself. I got a lot of people I got to feed, and so Bellator takes real good care of me. You know, I could fight at 45, I could fight at 35. Like King Mo used to say, I'm a money weight. You know, money weight is me.
All right, we'll take one or two more. Steven.
Hey, Darrion. You mentioned when you want to meet Pitbull in the finals. You had a confrontation backstage with him this past October, I should say. It seems like there's some animosity there. Can you sort of explain what's behind that?
Well, I guess I think it's been way before the March episode. I think it started the night I beat up on his little brother, his little cousin, Leandro Higo. When I took Leandro out, you know, he had a bitter taste in his mouth. And it seems like whenever the Pitbulls lose to one guy, everybody wants to fight him, you know? So that's kind of what happened. You know, I beat up the little brother or the little cousin, and the older cousin wants to fight or talk shit. So for me, you know, you talk shit, we're going to fight, you know? And then even after we had got into it, you know, the older Pitbull expressed how he felt, you know, and so he can get it too.
And how do you think a fight with Patricio would play out?
I'm too long and rangy for Pitbull.
So you basically keep him to range, or would you use your wrestling?
I keep him at range. You know, I could do what I want with him. You know, if I use my wrestling, it's gonna be a real short night for him. But I think I could beat Pitbull anywhere. Honestly, I'm too.
What did you think of his? Sorry, go ahead.
Good. I'm too fast, too long for the Pitbull.
What did you think of his fight with Pedro Carvalho?
I thought his fight went just like I thought it would go. You know, he's a powerful guy. You know, Pedro stands right in front of you, stands straight up, and it kind of went just like I thought it would.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Last one, Matthew.
Hey, Darrion, Matthew Allen of Fight Night Picks. In your last performance against Adam Boric, you had the chance to take an O from an undefeated fighter, and you're faced with a very similar opportunity this Thursday. Does that add any extra motivation going into this fight, that not only if you win, you make it to the finals of the featherweight tournament, but you also get to take and give AJ McKee his first loss?
Absolutely. I like to be the guy to put a little damper on people's plans. You know, I'm the guy that fights all the fights that nobody wants to fight, you know, and not only fight those fights, but come out victorious.
And last thing from me, AJ had said that he's quite excited to fight without a crowd there because he'll be able to hear your corner, he'll be able to hear his own corner, the instructions will be a lot more clear. What are your thoughts going into this without having a crowd present?
It's just like a normal day in practice, you know. It works for him, it works for me, and I think we'll all be happy that there's no crowd there.
All right, Darrion, thank you very much for the time today, and good luck the rest of the week.
Thank you, guys.
Check, check. Mic check. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but we are bringing you Benson Henderson in just a moment. Thank you for your patience. All right, guys, we apologize for the technical difficulties on our end, but we have Benson here ready to go. We'll begin once again with a few questions from our media. We'll start here with Steve Jewin. Steve, go ahead.
Benson, as always, thank you for the time. I want to get a couple of elephants in the room out of the way so that nobody else has to deal with them after you and I are done. Let's start with the fact.
Steve.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. And I want to know, because we didn't hear about this fight until last week. So how long have you known that you were going to be fighting Jason Jackson?
I have known for about 2 weeks, or they gave me about a 2-week notice from Thursday. So I had about 2 weeks notice. But I did text Bellator. I texted Mike Hogan maybe a month ago or so, a month and a half ago, whatever. And I texted Mike. I said, hey, Mike, I hope I don't need to say this, but if you need me to say this, let me put it out there again. You know, if you need a short notice fight, 70, 55. If it is 55, I need about 3 weeks notice to get down the weight. I think I can make 55 in about 3 weeks. It'll be a hard cut, but I can do it. If it's 70, I'll fight tomorrow, no problem. But if you need a short notice, something pops up and you need somebody, I'm your guy. I'm your Huckleberry. And Mike laughed, sent me a smiley face emoji. And then about a month after that, he said, okay, make sure you're in the gym. Well, thanks for giving us the heads up. Make sure you stay in the gym and be ready in case something does happen. And then month and a half or whatever after that, something like that. But, a week ago, week and a half ago, something like that, he texted me and said, hey, how about 170 short notice, Jason Jackson? I texted him and said, I'm your guy. I'm your Huckleberry. Let's do it.
Well, that's perfect for the next question, because it's from the frying pan into the fire going from Michael Chandler to Jason Jackson. So you're obviously game for the fight. You said you wanted it and you're taking it. But at the same time, is this at all motivated by what happened in the fight with Chandler? Did you want to get back as fast as possible?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I want to stay as busy as possible. I know I'm no spring chicken now. I don't have another 10 years left in this game, in this sport. So I have maybe 2 more years left. I'd like to jam pack those 2 years with as many fights as I can while I still can, So I need to stay busy. And on top of that, knowing our society, knowing our 140 character attention span, knowing our 12 second attention span that we have as a society, the more you're in your guys' face, the more I'm in the fans' face, the more Bellator's, higher ups, they see me perform and fight. I know the better chance, the better shot I have of getting the title shot against Patricio. So I just got to stay fighting, staying busy, staying active. And if it happens to be at 170, that's what I got to do. It is what it is. So I'm just trying to stay busy, stay active for, a couple different reasons. And, I have to get that 55-pound belt around my waist. I have to, and I will. It's just a matter of time.
All right, final one for me, and I'll let everybody else get in with you. It's a situation now where you've been a legend in the sport for a long time, and earlier on the call, we heard another fighter refer to his opponent as a name that's a trophy that I can put on my shelf. Do you think Jason Jackson is looking at you that way, like you're a trophy that he can put on his shelf?
Absolutely, and he should, rightfully so. No problem. He's looking like I'm a name, a trophy to put on the shelf, yada yada. I'm looking like he's a name on the next rung, the next step going. Continuing my career. That's how his mindset should be. And after you reach a certain point in your career, you get to a certain level. You gotta understand that's the way it's going to be for me forever, for the rest of my life. If I go do a jiu-jitsu tournament next year, and I go do Worlds, you better guarantee whoever I go against at Worlds is going to be excited to go against me, and they're going to be ramped up, the most excited they've ever been for any jiu-jitsu match of their life going against me. That's how it is. I got bulls on my back, whether it's an MMA fight, whether it's a jiu-jitsu match, whether it's a wrestling match. I go do wrestling tournaments in Arizona still. I got this 19-year-old young kid I'm going up against, and he looks over and he sees me, sees my name. Like he's pumped up. This is the most excited he's been for a wrestling match in his entire life. He's going to bring his A game, and that's just how it is for me. And I actually like that. I relish it. You bring your best. You bring your best. I'm going to bring my best. We'll see who the better man is. So I'm cool with it.
Giancarlo?
Hi, Benson. Hope you're doing well. You're taking this fight short notice, and it's at 170. So if you're impressive in this fight and you get it with little ease, do you think that you'll be continuing at 170, or is still the plan to go down to 155?
Man, that's above my pay grade. I do know I want the belt at 155. I want to fight for the belt at 155. I want to face off against Patricio. But if Bellator has their next fight at 170 again, toss up to my coaches. I'm always down. I'll say yes. I'll toss it to my coaches, see what they say. They know. My coaches know. Well, Mike Hogan knows. Bellator knows. I want that 55-pound belt. I need to have that around my waist. I must have that around my waist. I will have it around my waist. It's just a matter of time. But if I just need to stay busy and stay active, fight at 70 next fight, sure, that's fine. But I want all these 70 wins to count for 55 so I can go down there and get a title shot still. Like, I just want to fight for the belt at 55. I need to. Was on a nice 4-fight win streak before I faced off against Chandler. Chandler got the W, but I still think that at 55, I don't know what else Bellator is going to do, But me staying busy at 70, that's fine.
And final one for me, Patricio is in that featherweight Grand Prix. He won against, so it's going to probably be a while before he even defends that lightweight title. Do you see him even defending it, or do you see yourself maybe fighting someone else for a vacant title?
I have no idea. Again, above my pay grade. Who knows? It'd be nice to fight him. I think he should want to fight me. Last time we faced off, I got the W. I left the cage with my hand raised. So I think he wants to fight. He's a game guy too. He's a good champion. He's a champ. So he's a good champion. He's a good dude. Doesn't talk too much smack unless you talk smack to him first. He's not like a smack talker like that. So I got respect for him. But I would think that he would want to fight me, and I would think that he would want to defend the belt. Like everybody says, you're not a real champion until you defend the belt. You win it one time. The saying goes, you're not the champ until you defend it one time. So I think he needs to defend it once. I don't know who else they're going to give him at 155. He can probably take his pick of anybody he wants to face off against. I don't know why he would not pick me, but who knows?
Steven?
Why is winning the Bellator lightweight title so important to you at this point of your career?
I got to have it. I have absolutely got to have it. I got to have that belt at 155. It is very important to me on more than just one level, on a lot of different levels. I got to have that belt. I'm gonna get that belt. I'm gonna have a chapter on my waist.
Does it complete your legacy in any way?
I don't know if I would say it completes my legacy, but I do know it is something that I want. It's something something I gotta have. So I'm gonna go get it.
Did Chandler's departure to the UFC in any way change your long-term plans as far as, your prospects for getting that belt? Did it factor at all into, your path to the title?
I don't really know. I'm not sure. I think that's, again, above my pay grade. You got to ask maybe the Bellator higher up, Scott Coker, Mike Hogan, those guys with Shao, see what they say about that. Chandler taking off and whether it leaves the rest of the division, yada, yada, yada. For me, what I know is I have Jason Jackson in front of me on Thursday, and I got to get past him. I got to beat him up, and then hopefully everything else gets sorted out.
How much of a risk do you gauge this as, sort of fighting up a weight division on short notice when you're trying to get that lightweight title is sort of your main goal?
I think anytime you fight, it's a risk. So this is a risk as any other fight is, whether it's at 55, whether it's at 70. Like you win, it's good. You lose, it's not good, it's bad. So I think it's the same as any other fight. Taking a fight at 55 against whoever else, same thing, man.
All right, we'll take a couple more here. Jay Anderson, go ahead.
Hey, Benson, welcome back. Just a couple of quick ones for me. First of all, Jason Jackson isn't quite the household name that some of your opponents have been, but, he's looked good recently. He had earlier career fights against Diego Lima, against Colby Covington. He was on tough. Just give us your thoughts on the matchup, first of all.
I think he's a good fight. I think he's a good fighter. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good matchup for me. I think he trains with the best guys, some of the best guys in the world. He's trained with world champions. So I think he has a lot of experience in that sense. A lot of guys don't realize. A lot of fans don't realize somebody who doesn't have the most experience inside the cage. He's 11-4 or 10-4, something like that. But he has years and years and years of training with some of the best guys in the world. So I think that speaks, highly of him. That speaks well of him to have those kind of training partners. He doesn't have the biggest name, but he's trying to make a name, and this is his chance for him to make his name. And here you go. Here's your shot. Let's find out Thursday night.
And Michael Chandler leaving Bellator, you've shared the cage with him. You've also transitioned between promotions yourself. What are you expecting, from him? And is it harder than people kind of imagine? I imagine you get used to the way things work in a certain promotion, and then you kind of go into a whole new world.
Yeah, for sure. I think some of the behind the scenes stuff is a lot different. For the most part, promoters, that's what they do. Their job is to promote fights. They promote fights. You fight. You're the fighter. The promoters, Bellator and UFC in that aspect, they're the same. They're just promoters. They do what they do. But you get into some of the finer details, the actual going through the motion, knowing who you're supposed to talk to, knowing, this guy takes care of this lady, she takes care of this. Oh, I need help with something. Who do I call? Who do I email? So all the behind the scenes staff with the UFC and with Bellator, that is different. Going through the routine, going through the ritual of, even what day you fly out. On Bellator, you fly out on these days, 4 days, 5 days in advance, and UFC fly out these days in advance. So all that I think is can be a factor. It was a factor for me for sure. But I think that Chandler already went once to a UFC fight as a backup or whatever. So he went through the routine himself as a fighter. He went through it himself once. He didn't fight, but he went through the routine. So maybe when he fights for the first time, he'll be a little more used to it. But yeah, it can be a trial. It can be a test. But as a fighter, that's your job. Like, you saw as a young fighter, you don't have really a whole lot of media obligations. The better you do, the higher up you go, the more and more media obligations you have. And then you have to learn how to deal with it, how to adjust, how to take it and roll with it. Same thing for moving organizations. You have to learn how to adjust. You have to learn how to roll with it and go with it. And I think Chandler, he'll do fine. I think he'll do just fine in the UFC.
Donna?
Hey, Benson. This phrase you've used, I last spoke to you before the Miles Jury fight back in Dublin about a year and a half ago. You've used this phrase, above my pay grade. You've said it in that when I spoke to you then. You're saying it now. You've said it in a lot of interviews. At some point, though, you're a legend. There are people with lesser CVs than you who have been given bigger opportunities because they talk, because they push for it. You're desperate for this championship. Do you feel like at some point you're going to have to say fuck it and go out there and start talking a little bit of trash and start demanding things from Scott Coker and the promotion?
Nah, I can't do that, man. That would be selling my soul. I will not ever in my life sell my soul and do something that's not genuine and real to me. Do I get mad? Do I get frustrated? For sure. I get very upset, but I show my displeasure in a certain way. Sometimes I do get upset enough to have a outburst or to lash out or something, but that's very few and far between. But I'm not going to sell my soul. I'm not going to talk trash. I'm not going to. I will refuse. I will not ever do that just for the sake of selling tickets, just for the sake of getting the championship fight or doing this or doing that. To me, those guys they're pretty low, and I won't do that.
But I don't think it would be selling. Of course, but I don't think it would be selling your soul to start, because you mentioned, to get these opportunities, you have to be in front of us. Like you said, we've got 140 character, memory span. When you're in front of us, I feel like maybe if you, to get that shot, especially now when at 155, the title is so up in the air, we don't know if it's going to be vacant. We don't know if Pitbull is going to be defending it at some point. It feels like maybe at some point you have to be kind of in the media going, not talking crap about anybody, but calling your shot and saying, I really do think that the career I've had, the fights I've won in this promotion and other promotions, I deserve this opportunity at the Bellator Championship.
I won't disagree with you in that. I think there are definitely certain ways to go about it. I'm just saying, yeah, I will not go about it in a way that is contrary to who I am as a person, and not in a way that's contrary to my beliefs, the things I stand for the person I am, for the man that I am. But will I have to, maybe perhaps say a little bit more, be a little bit more vocal, be a little bit more articulate in the way I word it in the media? Maybe that is the answer. Maybe I'll have to do that. But me now in this interview, even now, the past interviews, now with the previous questions, saying, hey, I need to, I want to, yada yada yada. Like that's my way of saying, like I want this fight at 155 for the belt. But when it comes to above my pay grade, what I mean by that is that a lot of times it's not my choice. I can't make the fight myself. I cannot say, I'm going to fight Patricio. That's the call for Scott Coker and Mike Hogan and Rich Chow and those guys. I cannot do that. So that's what I mean by above my pay grade is that there's things I can control and things I cannot control. And things that I cannot control, that's above my pay grade. I can't control that. Why worry about it? Why stress about it? I can only, keep winning, hopefully winning in impressive fashions, hopefully be on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights in a row. Eventually, you have to get a title shot, right? Yeah, that's it for me right there. Just keep on winning. And if it comes to the point where I need to say this, I need to say that, I might have to talk a little bit more. I will do that. I'm not against that, but I just have to stay true to who I am. I'm not going to be somebody who's like outlandish and say some brash stuff and say something just for people to pay attention to me, to look at me because I want attention. Like those guys are idiots.
Last one here, Matthew.
Hi there, Benson. Matthew Allen of Fight Night Picks. Just real quick, thoughts on guys like RDA, who you can see move up from welterweight to lightweight, who are a little bit more advanced in their career. Just seeing a guy like that being able to move between weight classes give you confidence in taking a fight like this on short notice, knowing that no matter what happens, you can fight at 170 or 155?
Who was that again? I didn't catch the name you said.
RDA, Rafael dos Anjos.
Oh, cool. Well, I have fought before at 70 a couple of times, so I have experience on fighting short notice at 170. I had a couple of fights that happened to before. So my confidence comes from there, having done it before and having had success before. And the fact that, I'm just like any fighter on the planet, I'm the, if you're a fighter, you should be the most confident fighter on the planet. I am the most confident fighter on the planet, as I should be, as all fighters should be. I have confidence in my skill set. I have confidence in what I do. I have confidence in whoever I match up against. I can find a way to win. I will find a way to win. And Jason Jackson is that case, even at 170, even on short notice. I think I match up very well with him. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go beat him up.
Perfect. And last thing from me, in your last performance against Michael Chandler, there wasn't a crowd there. And I'm just curious, was the fight any different not having that kind of energy in the arena?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I was able to do a couple of jiu-jitsu competitions, having no crowd. I wanted to actually compete. I cornered a couple of guys where there was no crowd. It was a little bit different, but you tell your fighter, like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's no big deal. Go out there and go fight. Go beat him up. It's okay. But then, like, in the back of my head as a coach, I was like, oh no, this is a little bit different. Like, I wonder how he's going to take it. I wonder how he's going to do. So I wanted, as a competitor, to actually experience it, to go through it. So I went and took a couple of juicy matches to experience what it was like to compete in front of no crowd, in front of an empty, silent, arena. And so I experienced that. I did that. So I don't think it was as big of a deal for me going to do my first MMA fight with no crowd. And I don't think it wasn't a factor at all, really. Like, you go out there, and you just go compete. It doesn't matter whether it's in the back of a 7-Eleven with 2 people watching, or whether it's in front of 73,000 people. It doesn't matter. You go out there and you go do your best. You go perform. You go have a great performance. And normally I'm able to do that. I'm going to do that Thursday night also. Go have a great performance.
Great. Thanks for the time, Benson. Good luck this week.
Thank you, man. Thank you, guys.